So Apple released a new iPad Air with an M1 chip in it and priced it at $599 USD. And since Apple's iPad Pro already had an M1 chip in it and was priced at $799 USD, it makes people question what's the point of buying the iPad Pro. Or is it really worth spending the extra money? And to answer it simply, yes. You still do get your money's worth of buying the iPad Pro over the iPad Air. And in this video, I'll be comparing the differences between the Pro and the Air to prove to you, and for my own benefit, that the iPad Pro is still worthy of buying. First, let's talk about the display. Now, they both have a liquid retina display. That's not what's different. What's different is that the iPad Pro has noticeably thinner bezels than the iPad Air. If you don't know what bezels are, it's that border around the iPad screen. You're smarter now. And the iPad Pro is 100 nits brighter than the Air, which is once again a noticeable difference. Now, the last difference of the display is probably the most noticeable difference you'll encounter when comparing these two devices. And that is the refresh rate. The iPad Air has a 60Hz display, which is a regular amount of hertz for an Apple device, something you'd have on an iPhone. But for the iPad Pro, it has a whopping 120Hz display, and that 120Hz is so good. Just swiping like that brings joy to me. You know why? Because of how smooth it is. Just transitioning between apps, swiping away from an app, splitting the screen, and refreshing the apps is just so satisfying. And since I draw and write notes on my iPad, it's nice that the stroke actually keeps up with my pen. It makes it feel like I'm writing on actual paper. So next is the ports. Or port. The iPad Pro has a Thunderbolt port, which is the same that's on a MacBook. So not only does it charge it, you can hook it up to a monitor or connect a hard drive. With the iPad Air, just as a USB-C. But to be fair, I'd take that over an Apple Lightning any day of the week. Let's talk about the camera. To put it simply, the iPad Pro has dual cameras, a LiDAR sensor for augmented reality, and a flash. While the iPad Air only has a single camera, not even a flash. Believe me, I've gotten more use out of that flash than I thought. Next is the speakers. Now, to no one's surprise, the iPad Pro has once again double the quality, as the Air only has 2 speakers, where the Pro has a quad speaker system, so it's louder and clearer. It's made me use them way more than I usually would, even using them subconsciously as I wasn't disturbed by the sound quality. How about we talk about the microphones? The iPad Air is a bit of a disappointment when it comes to microphones, as they only have dual microphones, where the iPad Pro has 5 studio quality microphones. Next is the Face ID and Touch ID. This is just up to personal preference. I prefer Face ID, as that's just one less step that I need to do, but I guess if you don't want to face your device directly, a Touch ID may be better in that scenario. Lastly is the storage. This is more of a pricing problem, as the iPad Air's baseline storage is 64GB, which you're definitely going to burn through with an iPad. I gotta buy this game! But the only other option for upgrading is 256GB. And the problem is you have to pay $150 USD extra, which is getting to iPad Pro territory for pricing. And the baseline storage for the iPad Pro is 128GB. So those are the differences between the Air and the iPad Pro. Now, the extra spec bump and features on the iPad Pro aren't for everyone. You may just be good with the iPad Air, and that's okay. But at least now you know that the iPad Air is still worthy of buying. See you later.